And so she's just telling me this, and I'm just standing there going, oh my gosh, like this poor girl. And so I just moved to give her a hug, at which stage she just pretty much collapsed sobbing into my arms, and we just stood there for ages not doing anything, just hugging her. And eventually we started talking again, and the conversation came back to God, and she started asking questions again, but this time it was real different. Like, the heart behind it wasn't attacking and it wasn't angry. There was still hurt and confusion there, but the anger was gone. And so it was about 1 a.m. in the morning by this time, and we just sat ourselves down in the middle of this caravan park by one of the little roads that run through it. And she's asking me all these questions, and we're just having a really great chat. And then at the end I said, Ash, can I pray for you? And she kind of looked at me and she's like, right here? And I was like, yeah. Like, she said, don't we have to be in church? I was like, no, like, we can pray anywhere, anytime. And she goes, well, should we at least get on our knees? And I said, Ash, we can if you want to, but God will listen to us if I'm sitting or standing or kneeling or doing backflips across a room. He will listen. And she's like, oh, okay. And then she's like, and I saw her sort of hesitate about whether to tell me. She goes, I've slept with my boyfriend. I was like, Ash, that's okay, like, through Jesus, which we talked about, like, through Jesus, his forgiveness is completely full. She goes, I've also tried drugs. And I was like, same deal, Ash, like, he forgives everything, like, his restoration is complete. So we prayed together, and over the week we continued to catch up and have a chat, and at the end of the week when she went back home, I left her with some numbers for that she could continue to get a little bit of counselling for, because she'd obviously had a pretty rough couple of years. And we're still in touch, actually, and life is going really well for her now. She's actually got herself into uni. And the deal is, like, that's just one girl and one story, but I could share heaps of those kind of stories with you. It's an incredible thing. And the deal was, it wasn't some major thing that I did. I just made myself available, and I was willing to give of myself to her. And that started that process of healing and of restoration in her life. And like, the crazy thing about stuff like this is that we go down, you know, with the Red Frog Crew, they go down to serve and to be a blessing, but you end up getting so blessed by actually doing it. And it's because we are actually made for that stuff. We're made to act with love and compassion, because that's actually at the very heart of God, and we're made in his image, so we're made for this stuff. And in one sense it can be hard, but in the other sense it's so rewarding. And I don't know if you can think of anything that you might have just gone, oh man, like, I really want to do that for that person. And maybe it's just something as simple as you know, thinking, oh, do you know what, I'm just going to, like, there's a pile of dishes that mum has to do, I'm just going to do them for her. And you actually, like, once it's done and your mum comes home and sees them, you feel so good about it. And it's not because doing the dishes per se is a joyous task, it's because something within that of acting in compassion and doing something for other people, it resonates and connects within us, because it's how we're actually made to operate. Okay, so we're made to act with compassion, to change the world around us, because we were made for it. Now, I want to say that we don't always see the effects immediately. Okay, you might not see an instant result of that action, but the Bible actually says in Galatians 6, it says, don't grow weary in doing good, for in due time you will reap a harvest, okay? In due time. Not necessarily tomorrow, not necessarily the week after. In due time, at the right time, and in a good time, you will see a harvest, okay? And that's, I'm just going to say, like, the Bible makes so much flipping sense. I used to think when I was your, I probably said this before, but when I was your age, I was like, what a load of crap. I'm not sure if I should be saying that. Sorry, Nick. But yeah, it's actually a very, like, logical, amazing book. And maybe you've picked it up before and read a little bit and just been like, what the heck? Or maybe you just don't know where to start. But if that's you, then gosh, just ask someone questions. And even if you're already a Christian, like, don't let that stop asking, you know, don't let that stop you asking questions, because it's a lifelong journey of growing and understanding, and never feel like if you ask questions, you're not going to be as mature or spiritual as you think that you're supposed to be. Because I still ask people questions all the time, and, you know, pretty sure that everyone does. Okay, so we will reap a harvest, we will make a difference, because to every action there is a reaction. You might have heard that before, maybe in science or something, but it's like a fact of life. To every action there is a reaction. There's a consequence. So our actions and our words and our behaviours, they have an impact. So my question to you is, what sort of world are you creating by how you act? Okay, are you creating a world of hurt and loneliness and separation? Or are you creating a world of love and of togetherness and compassion? Okay, because you know that the well-known Lord's Prayer, the prayer that says, your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Do you know what that actually means? We're saying, God, the way you do things in heaven, your perfection, your goodness, your actions and purposes, let more of that be evident here on earth. And when we offer compassion to someone, that is actually what we're doing. When we reach out and care, we're bringing some of heaven down to earth. And that is so powerful because it's what we were intended for, and it's the restoration of what was actually meant to be. Woo! Yeah. Woo! I love the love that God has for us. And do you know the other thing that it does? It actually shows honour to God, because we're made in His image, and the way we treat the creation reflects how we feel about the Creator. Did you get that? So the way we treat the creation reflects how we feel about the Creator. My dad has in his office still this little, I don't know what I was thinking, paper mache rabbit that I made him when I was, I think about 5 or 6. It's grossly out of proportion. The head is definitely the same size as the body, if not a little bigger. It apparently has no legs. There's a really bad paint job. There's a bit of cotton wool as the tail that's kind of falling off. Its ears are really weird. And it's actually really ugly. Like, really ugly. And he still has it. Like, 20 years later, he still has this rabbit. It is not because the rabbit is a work of genius and like amazing art that deserves to be in a museum. It's because I made it and he loves me. And it's the same when we show compassion to other people. We might not necessarily know them that well, and we might not necessarily, have a huge amount of love for them, but each of us are made in the image of God and we're precious to Him. So when we honour and give compassion to other people, we're honouring our Father in heaven, and that's a really cool thing. Okay, so compassion is a choice to change the world around you. So love the people around you, choose to stop. For you guys, it's little things like choosing to stop gossiping and being kind and speaking to maybe the kid that doesn't always fit in at school. Okay, moving on. Third point, last point. Compassion is a choice to change the world around you by challenging the status quo. What status quo? It's the average, run-of-the-mill, what's normal, what's accepted, just the way things are, okay? Sometimes, and often in fact, it's not actually all about the big, courageous, notable things. We all want to do those things, and that's great, and I'm sure we will have opportunity to do those things at times, but we actually really need to learn to be faithful and trustworthy in the little things before we can be entrusted with the big things, okay? So it's challenging those things around you that everyone might just accept as the way things are, but those things can actually be different, and they can be better, and it's going to those things and making a difference in those things that bit by bit actually changes stuff and makes life better for people. Okay, and as I said, it's not always easy. It's quite often actually at a sacrifice to your own personal comfort. You might have a really good group of friends that's really easy to hang out with and you love it, and there's some kid over there that's really actually unhappy because they don't have that much friends, and you don't really want to go and chat to them and just say something kind, but it can actually, if you get off your butt and go and do it, it can really make a difference, And the other thing I wanted to say is that sometimes it doesn't even have to be a massive action, okay? Compassion actually literally means to suffer with. That's the words that compassion comes from, means to suffer with. And you might say, well, like, how can acting in compassion be powerful or make a difference? How can suffering with, how can that actually do anything? Well, I'll tell you how. It's because when we choose to enter into someone's pain with them and to feel it and to allow it to mean something to us, it gives dignity and worth to that person who is suffering. It says to them, you matter. And I'm willing, because you matter, to endure this with you and to encounter it with you. And we were made by God to know that we are all precious and valuable in His sight. And we were meant to live in harmony and love and peace together. But this fallen world's meant that we get so disconnected from God and from each other. And whether we're aware of it or not, there's this gnawing hunger inside of us to be connected with others and to know that we matter. And so when we reach